Hi, and welcome to the reading for Ellie, a new play by Bruce Bonefede. Uh, Bonefede, sorry. Um, Bruce is with us, although we can't see him, but he's lurking in the cyber background. Our actors today are John Colvalskie, who's playing Warren, and Paul Ballard, who's playing Richard. My name is Timoth David Copney, and I am the director. So without further ado, audience, please remember to stay muted. Please remember to hide yourselves in your non-participant video section. And without further ado, let's get started. I will be reading the stage direction as well. Act 1, setting. It's the interior of the evening, the living room of Warren's home. Warren and Richard enter.
Oh,
stop moaning. You act like I weigh 300 pounds. I ain't heavy. I'm your brother.
don't joke. You're supposed to be grieving.
I am grieving.
Yeah, right.
We all grieve in our own way.
You're not fooling anyone. Not me, at least. Poor Warren, the widower. So tragic.
It is tragic.
It's disgusting seeing you get so much sympathy.
I deserve sympathy.
You deserve... This is me. You can stop lying now.
I'm not lying.
You never...
I'm not.
Stop lying. You didn't love Ellie.
Of course I did. Don't be stupid.
You had a strange way of showing it.
All marriages have problems. That doesn't mean...
You abused her.
Never.
Not physically, verbally, emotionally.
That's your opinion.
And hers. Though she always made excuses for you. God only knows why.
You should be nicer to me. I almost died.
But you didn't. She did.
Yeah, too bad it wasn't the other way around, isn't it? You'd have liked that.
I've never wished you any harm.
Now that's a lie.
Not that kind of harm.
Then what kind? A wasting disease? Long onset dementia?
Be quiet.
At least Ellie died quickly. She didn't suffer.
Don't.
She...
Don't.
I'm just...
Don't.
Poor Richard.
Richard springs to his feet and paces. Warren watches for a few moments.
Oh, for God's sake, stop.
We don't.
What?
We don't even know.
Know what?
What killed her?
The accident killed her.
But we don't know how.
Of course we do. She drowned.
But couldn't it have been trauma to the head? Maybe the airbag.
If she died from hitting her head, her lungs wouldn't have filled with water. And what difference does it make?
It makes a difference. It makes, to me, was she unconscious? Was she knocked out at least? What if she wasn't? What if she knew she was going to drown? What if she was awake, aware every second that her life was ending? I can't stand not knowing. At least she didn't suffer.
You don't have to remind me of all this, you know. I went through it too. I barely survived.
But you did.
It would seem so.
How could it happen? You know that road? You've driven it 1,000 times. We all have. You know there's no guardrail on that turn. How fast were you going?
I wasn't.
The car ended up on the rocks, under the falls. You know how far that is from the road? You must have been going like...
I wasn't. Not really. No faster than usual.
Were you drunk?
Oh, you know I wasn't drunk. I was in the hospital. If I'd have been drinking, they'd have known. Hadn't had a drink in 2 days. You just don't know because you weren't around. And it was raining.
And you've never driven in the rain before.
And dark. It was an accident. Can't you understand?
It's going to be hard for me to forgive you for this.
I know. Let's just rack it up to one more thing you hate me for.
I don't hate you. I've never hated you. I haven't.
Oh, you really believe that?
I don't
Believe it?
hate you.
Yes, you do, little brother. Yes, you do.
Younger.
Oh, yes, sorry. I forgot how sensitive you are about that. Younger. Get your older brother a drink, will you? I really can't on my own.
That's always your answer.
What?
Drinking.
Ha! Not a bad answer.
All right. I could use one too.
Bring the bottle, the good stuff, the Glen. There's an open one. All right, that's strange. I know what it's called. Glen.
You want the whole bottle?
Now, that'll save you the trouble of having to keep getting up.
And make it easier for you to drink the whole thing.
Yeah, I might. I might. I've just lost my wife. I just might drink the whole fucking thing.
Richard pours whiskey for both of them, leaves the bottle on the table and sits. Warren takes and examines it.
Gower. Glen Gower.
What of it?
My favorite scotch. Single malt. Very expensive. Fit for a funeral.
Shut up.
It was a nice service, didn't you think?
Fuck you.
It was.
Yeah, it was.
I don't remember the last time I was in church. Nothing's changed, has it? Still the same mumbo jumbo, except now the priests have breasts. When did they start ordaining women?
I don't know. Years ago.
Seems like a waste of a perfectly good vagina.
What?
Celibacy.
Women priests can get married. We're Episcopalian, not Catholic. Our priests can get married.
They can? How strange. They can get married in one religion, but not in the other. You think God knows about that? Episcopalian. Are you sure?
Yes.
Well, that explains my addiction to golf. Don't look at me like that. I'm just trying to cheer you up.
Cheer me up. Are you out of your mind? Ellie's dead.
Yes, I'm aware. It was nice of Karen to handle everything.
Yes, it was.
She was a good friend.
She loved Ellie very much.
As did we all. As did we all. Did you ever fuck her?
What?
Karen. I mean, Karen, of course. Did you ever fuck Karen?
What are you talking about?
Not even after Susan left you. You were very depressed. You know how easily you get depressed.
Karen's an old friend, and she's married to
Paul.
Paul.
So you never had sex with her, not ever? Not even when we were young.
What the hell are you?
I did.
You did what?
Had sex with her. Not when we were young, later. You remember that time she and Paul were separated? Like, I don't know, 20 years ago. He went nuts and ran off with that college girl for a while. I fucked Karen that whole time. 3 months. Almost 4. She wasn't very good, but she was Ellie's friend. It was the least I could do. I liked your nipples.
God, you're disgusting.
Just being honest.
Honest. You probably forced yourself on her.
Oh, stop. I didn't force her. I may be a prick, but I'm not a monster. Fortunately, Ellie never knew, and apparently you didn't either. I'm surprised you never figured it out. I thought you were smarter than that.
How would I have ever known?
I don't know. People always leave little clues. I mean, I tried not to, but it's inevitable. Everyone leaves little clues.
You really were the world's worst husband.
I wasn't perfect, I admit it. But then none of us are we?
Huh. Some of us are a lot worse than others.
Yeah, that's true. Though you lost your wife, too. And yours left you of her own free will. Oh, jeez.
Are you in pain?
Yes,
Good.
I'm in a lot of pain. You could show some sympathy. I have 4 cracked ribs, you know.
I was there when the doctor told you.
Well, that's right.
You seem to be forgetting things.
Well, I've had a shock, you know. You're going to have to help me undress.
No, I'm not.
I can't sleep in my clothes.
Then don't sleep.
Well, that's an interesting idea. I could just sit here in this chair and drink until everything finally goes away forever.
You should consider it.
Oh, stop. What would you do without me?
I don't know, but I'd be willing to find out.
A little more?
Richard hands over his glass and Morin pours them both more whiskey.
So, what are your plans?
What do you mean?
Oh, now that Ellie's gone, are you going to stay on in the guest house?
Oh, I don't see any reason to move, unless you want me to.
No, of course not. I'm glad you're here. You can tuck me in at night.
Shit.
Tell me bedtime stories.
How about Warren stopped being a shit and everyone lived happily ever after. The end.
I don't think that one's believable.
Definitely not.
Ellie liked having you here.
She liked having someone around who wasn't cruel to her.
Oh, that again? Come on.
I don't think you realize how unhappy you made her.
I didn't make her unhappy. She made herself unhappy.
That doesn't make any sense.
It's true.
How? How did she make herself unhappy?
She married me.
You can stop with the jokes, can't you?
Who's joking? If she was unhappy, she could have left, you know.
Oh, shut up. I don't want to talk about her.
Oh, of course you do. That's all you want to do. It's all you can think about.
She was the kindest. She was always very kind to me.
That she was. She certainly was. Very kind. She took such pity on you after Susan left and you had to sell your house. Oh, we can't leave Richard without a home, she said. I remember it distinctly.
This is so hard.
I'm sure it is. You cared about her very much. I know that. And she cared about you.
She was like the sister I never had. I mean it.
Oh, please.
What? Why?
What a stupid thing to say.
I don't understand you at all.
No, I'm sure you don't. And how's work?
What?
Work. Your job.
Oh, I don't know. Work is work.
Still as stimulating and gratifying as always? Don't you hate that place?
Yes.
Then why don't you leave?
You know why? I'm still paying things off.
You could do it faster if you had a better job. They don't pay you enough.
I make as much as you used to do.
Not quite. And I didn't have your debts. And now I have a pension, a good one. State employee, you know. I get almost the same every year as I made in salary. You'll get nothing except what you save yourself from your own pay.
Well, that's how it is for most people nowadays.
Most people are stupid. In a few years, you'll be too old to work. You won't have anything. You should find another job. They'll never pay you what you're worth. You're not one of the boys. You don't generate billable hours. You shouldn't be with a law firm. You should be in an accounting firm where accountants are valued.
I'm doing all right. It's none of your business.
It is my business. You're living in my guest house.
Which you said is all right with you.
It is. You still shouldn't be doing it.
You want me to move.
No. I want you to be able to move. I want you to get your life in order. Stop taking from other people.
I'm not. I'm paying you rent. Why do you even care?
I worry about you, my little, younger brother.
Shit.
I do. Quack, 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 quack.
Shut up.
More whiskey?
No. Unlike you, I'm not an alcoholic.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
Most people think so.
Yeah, well, like I said, most people are stupid. You drink too much, too, if you were me.
I probably would. It must be torture.
Yeah, there are times it is. There are times, little man.
Don't call me that.
Oh, right, I forgot. Only our dear mother could call you that, little man, mommy's little man.
You're pathetic. Why are you trying to provoke me?
I'm not.
Little man, quacking like a duck. Oh, I get it.
You get it. You understand my grand scheme. Well, I'm glad somebody does.
Ellie's not here. So you have no one else to pick on, to provoke or punish. I'm your only available target. Well, sorry, not playing. You won't make me a victim.
Victim? You're hardly a victim. You're the opposite of a victim.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Huh. Well, then neither do I. Must be the whiskey talking or the pills. You know, they gave me some strong painkillers.
They should have given you 10 years of therapy.
Now who's making the jokes? My point is the two don't mix. Oh, well. Glengarra wins out.
Are you trying to kill yourself?
No, just the pain.
I don't know how you live with yourself.
I don't have much choice.
Didn't you love her at all?
What? Of course I did. I've said as much.
Well, not to her. She told me you never said you loved her in 30 years.
Oh. Now, why would the two of you be talking about that? About me? I wonder what brought that on.
I don't remember. We just were.
Nice to know. 30 years, huh? That's a long time. But we were married for 40, so it must have started out well.
More jokes. She told me.
What?
Nothing.
Now, I'm sure she told you any number of things, some of which are even true.
I'm sure they were all true. Ellie wasn't a liar like you.
No, not a liar like me. Now,
I guess it's possible. You're just fucked up enough to be insanely cruel to a woman you actually loved.
well, we all have our flaws.
Stop it.
You don't understand. You've never understood. Of course I was cruel to Ellie. She deserved it. She had to be punished. She had to be punished for doing what she did to me.
She never did anything to you.
She did, and she did it every day.
What?
She loved me.
You really are one sick fuck.
Oh, you don't know the half of it. All your life you've thought of me some simple bully, some mindless sadist, mean to my wife, callous toward others, a heartless practitioner of my cruel job. And I have been, but it's never been simple. I have always known my failings. I couldn't overcome them, couldn't rise above them, but I've always known what they are. I've always known what I was guilty of. Unlike you, little man, unlike you.
There's no point in this. I'm going.
This bottle's empty. Would you bring me another?
Doesn't look empty.
Well, it is now.
Richard exits, taking the bottle from Warren as he goes. Warren sits uncomfortably for a few moments, then stiffens and staring, speaks to someone who's not there.
Oh, yes, Domingo. No, I'm sorry, kid. I really am. I can't help you. There's nothing I can do. It's out of my hands.
Who are you talking to?
What? Oh. Huh. How strange.
Now you're seeing things?
Yes. No, not seeing things, but I was back in a memory, back at work. With Domingo.
Who's that?
One of our inmates. Domingo de Valera. Nice name, isn't it? Nice name. Nice boy. Killed his whole family.
God.
Model prisoner, though. Always respectful. Always called me Mr. Warden, sir. Yes, Mr. Warden, sir. No, Mr. Warden, sir. It's too bad we had to execute him.
He got the death penalty?
You don't remember him? It was big news at the time. He killed 4 members of his family. Cold blood. He had just turned 18. Good student. Never got in trouble. Came home from school one day like any other day after soccer practice. Kissed his mother. Took out the garbage. Did his homework. Then Dad came home from work. I remember he was a roofer. Domingo took a gun he got from one of his amigos and shot Dad, Mom, and both his little sisters, 13 and 14.
God, crazy.
Not at all. They ran all the tests on him and he was fine, totally sane.
I don't care. He was crazy.
They found out at the trial that Dad, the roofer, beat him, sometimes with a pry bar. He went to school all the time with bruises all over. The police went to their house, social services. Mom always claimed there was no abuse, no problema. They tried to get Domingo to talk, to make a statement, but he wouldn't.
Probably too afraid.
No, too proud. When the day came, I had them bring him to my office. We sat there and waited. There was a chance the governor would order a stay. A chance. I mean, he had just turned 18 when he did it. There were all sorts of groups pushing for clemency. As the time got closer, it didn't look good. I asked him how he felt, and I remember he lifted his face and said, "I'm glad he's dead." And I suddenly liked him. I never had much feelings for our inmates. Scum people, most of them. Deserved whatever they got. But Domingo, I don't know. I liked him. He took care of things himself. No phony remorse. I had the sudden impulse to save him, but there was no way. Just the opposite. My job was to carry out the order of the court, and that's all. When the time came, I didn't want to do it. I really didn't want to do it, but I had to. I said to him, "Domingo, this whole thing might have turned out differently if you hadn't shot your sisters. Why on God's earth did you kill your little sisters?" And he turned to me. His eyes had a look I've never seen it before, and I've never seen it since. And he said, "I know, Mr. Warden, sir. That's why you have to kill me." And so that's what we did.
Open the fucking bottle.
Warren pours whiskey for both of them.
Lost souls.
At least our father never hit us. Dad never hit us.
Never hit you,
Either of us.
if that's what you remember.
What are you saying?
Our father was no saint.
Meaning?
He hit me. He hit me until you were old enough to know what was going on. Then our dear mother laid down the law. She didn't want her little man to be upset. You. She was more concerned about you being upset than she was about me being hit.
Are you serious?
And why would I make that up?
You never told me this.
Why would I tell you? I was just glad it stopped. Once it did, I wanted to forget it. Besides, there's a certain perverse pleasure in being the only child, knowing things your younger sibling doesn't.
You mean like how to be an asshole?
Yeah, among other things. I've always known things you didn't know. Things you didn't know I knew. I still do.
The drinking's getting to you.
Oh, let's hope so.
I couldn't help how Mom and Dad behaved toward me. How they treated me. It wasn't my fault.
No, it wasn't your fault. But we are often punished for things that aren't our fault.
Which is totally unfair.
You only say that because you expect fairness.
So,
So that's absurd.
we have a right to fairness.
Nonsense. We have a right to want fairness. Have you ever bothered to read the Constitution?
Of course, in school. Don't talk about politics.
I'm not. What does it say in the preamble? It says establish justice. You know why it says establish justice? Because the founders understood that justice does not exist, not in the natural course of life, and especially not in how we deal with each other. We have to establish it. We have to make it, since it doesn't exist.
Now you're going to claim that's why you chose a career in the prison system?
Oh, hell no. I went to work in corrections because I needed a job and it paid well. And now I need more Glenn Gower.
So what are you going to do
What do you mean?
without her?
Still can't stop talking about Ellie, can you? I don't even remember what life looks like without her after 40 years. Yeah, I don't remember. Different.
Very different.
I'll have to start making my own dinner for one thing.
God, don't joke.
And maybe I'll use one of those meal delivery services.
Stop.
I'm allowed to joke. I'm allowed to fucking joke. I've let my own need for justice destroy my life. I'm at least allowed to joke about it.
What are you talking about?
You don't know. You don't have any idea. You never have any idea about anything. It must be easy going through life without a clue.
Not with you around.
Yes. Very good. I suppose it's not. I'm really going to miss her. And I know you are too.
Oh, God.
Did I upset you?
You know, you... Oh, hell.
She was my wife, you know, not yours.
I know. Believe me, I know.
You're acting like your loss is greater than mine, and you probably think it is. You should be more like Domingo.
What the fuck does that mean?
At least he accepted his punishment for his unforgivable act.
I've never done anything that was unforgivable.
No, of course not. You've always been justified in whatever you do. No matter what, you've always seen yourself as the good little man. Not your fault, of course. Your mommy made you feel that way. She put the idea in your head. You just never grew up and got over it. You've always been a good little man in your own mind.
If you don't stop calling me that, I'm going to smack you. Injuries or not.
You're going to smack me? Smack? Geez, the way you talk sometimes, I don't understand how we're related. Anyway, you won't. I'm sure thinking that makes you feel better, and with me banged up like this is the only time in your life you could possibly get away with it.
I wouldn't give you the satisfaction.
Yeah, boy, I knew you'd find a way to talk yourself out of it.
You're pathetic.
I certainly look pathetic.
You shouldn't complain. You only got what you deserve.
We all get what we deserve, sometimes more.
You know what I mean. You're responsible for her death.
Yes, I am. At least I admit it.
What's that supposed to mean?
You know what it means.
Sounds like the whiskey's working. You're starting to talk crazy.
Not crazy at all.
I'm not responsible for her death. You are. I had nothing to do with it.
You had everything to do with it.
I wasn't even in the car.
Weren't you? I could have sworn you were there.
You really are losing your mind.
Bring me your glass.
Why?
Yours is empty.
Richard lets Warren pour in more whiskey.
Have you ever thought, sometimes I think I should have married Susan and you should have married Ellie. Like belongs with like. It would have been interesting.
Well, that's one way of getting my mind off things. Remind me of my ex-fucking wife.
And what's she doing these days?
Oh, who knows or cares?
Probably torturing some other poor fool. I warned you about her.
No, you didn't.
I didn't. Shame on me. I should have. Oh, I remember. I was dazzled by how good looking she was, just like you were. She really was a knockout, wasn't she? Well, that's one thing we had in common.
Shit, not much.
No. You still paying off those bills she ran up?
I told you, I'm almost done. I will be in a year or two.
Ridiculous.
I had to, otherwise my credit would be crap. You know what she said to me? What she had the nerve to say? Why didn't I declare bankruptcy? She spends almost $100,000 we don't have, but I'm supposed to declare bankruptcy.
You're right. I shouldn't have married her either. Have I ever told you my history with Scotch?
What's that got to do with Susan?
Nothing. I'm changing the subject. Susan isn't worth talking about.
That's true.
Have I told you about me and Scotch?
Not that I recall or want to.
You remember that's what Dad always drank. Back then, Scotch was what a real man drank. None of that James Bond martini nonsense, let alone what passes for a martini nowadays. I tried to like it. When I started drinking, before I had fake proof and could buy it myself, I'd steal it out of his liquor cabinet. I tried to like it, but it tasted, to me, it had this odd kind of taste like iron or something, but I kept drinking it. They said it was an acquired taste. I figured if I tried hard enough, I could acquire it. Spent years forcing myself to drink it, even though I didn't like it. I finally gave up. I switched to blended whiskey, Canadian. Much smoother, and it didn't taste like a piece of metal. So one year for my birthday, we were in our 30s. Ellie got me a bottle of Scotch as my present. She was so pleased with herself. It was so expensive. She said she'd read that this was a new thing, single malt Scotch, here in America anyway. And she thought I might like it. So she had no idea I'd spent years and years trying to like Scotch and hating it. I wasn't pleased. In fact, I got angry. She just spent a ton of money on something I knew I wouldn't like. And, of course, being the shit bastard that I am, I told her as much. I yelled at her that she'd wasted our money buying me a present I wasn't going to like.
God.
Of course, the punchline is that after she went to bed by herself, crying, I stayed up and decided, oh, what the hell? I tried the scotch. It was wonderful. Glenn Gower.
Did you at least tell her you were sorry?
No,
Why not?
I forgot.
Shit.
Because apologies are a sham. We pretend that they're for those that got hurt, but they're really for those who did the hurting, and I didn't deserve it.
That's bullshit.
Well, it is bullshit. It's also true.
You were just a coward, afraid to admit you were wrong.
That too. Most things have more than one reason. In fact, everything has millions of reasons, and that's why that saying, everything happens for a reason, is about the most simple-minded thing anyone's ever said.
Well, at least the whiskey's working. You're babbling.
Better than simple-minded platitudes. Help me take this coat off, will you? Will you do that for me at least?
Richard helps him remove his suit jacket, which is swaying more as it came throughout. Richard leaves the jacket over the back of the chair and sits again, taking the bottle with him.
Oh, yeah. You've taken my whiskey.
You shouldn't drink anymore.
Fuck you and the Pope. You rode in on. Oh, somehow it's going to hurt me? Considering the condition I'm in?
Richard pours himself some, then returns the bottle to Warren.
I just wanted a little more. I wasn't stealing your precious alcohol.
Wouldn't have surprised me. You've taken everything else.
You need to not drink anymore. It's affecting your mind.
That is the point of drinking.
I mean, you're talking crazy.
No crazier than Domingo.
What's he got to do with it?
Everything. That poor abused kid was twice the man you are, and you should be more like him.
I should be crazy and kill my family. It's an idea.
You should accept your guilt and your punishment. And you know what I'm talking about.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. I have only one question for you. You know what it is?
No, and I don't want...
You're afraid of what it is, aren't you? Quack, quack, quack.
Shut up!
Poor little man. This time I'm not here to save you. In fact, just the opposite. This time I'm the ducks. Those scary, scary ducks.
You... shit.
You're frightened, aren't you?
No. I should go.
You can leave. It won't change anything. You'll come back eventually. Let me ask my question. When did you start fucking my wife? I know you were. I just don't know how long it was going on. When did it start?
Without a word, Richard exits. Warren pours himself more whiskey. Richard re-enters, goes to his chair, finishes his drink, and exits again.
Yes, don't let the Glengower go to waste. But you've gone into the kitchen, not out the back door. Clearly, you're not leaving. Quack, 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 quack.
How did you know?
Like I said, we all leave little clues.
What clues?
Does it matter?
How long have you known?
You're not going to try and deny it. I'm impressed. I hate to admit it, but I'm impressed.
I owe it to Ellie not to deny it.
Noble. Very noble for a little shit.
You didn't answer my question.
I don't feel particularly obliged to answer your question.
All right. What do you want to know?
I told you. When did it start?
Don't you want to know why?
I know why. You were unhappy. She was unhappy. You found each other, took solace in each other.
God, you make it sound pathetic.
It is pathetic. You're in your 60s, and so is she. I'm sure it wasn't going on before you took the guest house. Neither of you would have had the nerve if it had dropped into your laps. And who has an affair in their 60s? Even I stopped doing that sort of thing before that.
It was the most wonderful thing that ever happened to me.
Oh, was there music? Did a choir of angels sing the Hallelujah chorus?
Shut up. That's not what I mean.
You were both old enough to know better.
That's right. That's exactly right. We were both old enough to know better. Because we were both old enough to have spent a lifetime not being loved. I wouldn't expect you to understand.
Right. Somehow you're going to turn this into how it was all my fault. I didn't love Ellie enough. I was mean to her.
You treated her like shit.
And her only recourse was to fuck her husband's brother?
She probably thought you wouldn't care.
Oh, you both knew better than that, and that's why you kept it secret. And you haven't answered my question. When did it start?
I don't know.
You don't know. The most wonderful experience of your life, and you don't know when it started.
We knew we loved each other before. Quite a while before. But we didn't do anything.
Because you knew it was pathetic.
Because she wouldn't. She said it was wrong.
Hell, it's nice to know my wife had more scruples than my little brother, at least for a while.
After that trip you took to Mexico, to Cabo, to go fishing.
Which one? I've been going to Cabo for years.
Oh, for God's sake, the one you took last year. You took Ellie with you. It was the day after you got back. You were playing golf. She came out to the guest house like she always did. We were having coffee and she brought out this large plastic bag and asked me to keep it for her so you wouldn't find it.
Was she smuggling drugs?
Asshole. It was a bag full of broken pieces of seashell. She said she'd been out on the beach, just wandering along the surf. Said she found this huge shell, the most beautiful she'd ever seen. Even dry, the colors were amazing. And she brought it back to the room. And that night, drunk as usual, you started a fight. At one point, you picked it off the coffee table and threw it. You threw it out the open glass doors and out over the back balcony. She ran down and it landed on the concrete deck of the hotel pool and was smashed into 100 pieces. And she very carefully collected all the pieces and brought them back up to the room and put them in a plastic bag she used for her makeup. You, of course, had already passed out on the bed. She said she wanted me to keep the bag for her so you wouldn't find it. She figured if you did yell at her for being stupid for something like that, for keeping it. But she wanted, when she could, she wanted to glue the pieces back together without you knowing about it. Oh, it was hopeless. It was so shattered in so many pieces. Even if she managed to piece them together, it would never look the same. She was blinking back tears when she gave it to me. You remember that fight?
I barely remember that trip.
God, you're a pig.
So it went on for a year.
Almost. You can't blame her. She just wanted to be with someone who valued her, someone she mattered to.
I can blame anyone I want, and I blame her. I'll also blame you because you both did it together. Though probably her more.
Why? I'm the one who...
Go ahead and finish.
No.
You're the one who pushed it. Made the move, as they used to say.
God.
I suppose I should blame you more, but frankly, I don't. You've always disappointed me. Ellie, I expected more from Ellie. She was a far better person than you'll ever be.
Your admiration of her rings more than a little hollow.
My admiration for my wife is my personal business, not yours. Same with my sense of betrayal.
You weren't faithful to her.
That's irrelevant.
Why? Because you're a man?
No, because I'm me. If someone does something to me, it's far worse than if I do it to them.
That's ludicrous.
It's how we think, all of us. If we all held ourselves to the same standards we hold others, well, the world would be a very different place.
Oh, that's a cop-out.
A cop-out? God, no one says cop-out. What is this, 1968? All right, look, put it down to whatever reasons you want. It doesn't matter. I am the wrong party. She was my wife. She cheated on me with my own brother, and you are that brother. I'm not the first person in world history to look on that as a particularly shitty, even primal betrayal.
You slept with her best friend.
Hardly the same thing. Even you have to admit that. Besides, she never knew about it. She didn't even have that to justify her behavior.
She didn't need to justify it. Love doesn't need to be justified.
What do you do in your spare time? Write dopey love songs?
Ellie deserved some happiness in her life. She deserved to be loved.
Yeah, and you just had to take the job on yourself.
I didn't mean it for it to happen.
You sound like a teenager. How old are you? Over 60 and you couldn't control yourself when it came to my wife? You knew it was wrong and you did it anyway.
I didn't.
You didn't do it?
I didn't think it was wrong. I loved her.
Huh.
She loved me.
I had no idea you hated me so much. I knew you resented me. That's natural. I'm your big brother. I was always older, bigger, stronger than you. I knew more. I could do more. I was better at you than everything.
Not everything.
Except for what? Math? Yeah, you've always been better with numbers. So who cares? It couldn't even get you a better job.
Stop with my job. I've never hated you. I told you.
You can't even be honest with yourself. A man doesn't fuck his own brother's wife. For that, he has to truly hate him.
That's not true. That's nothing to do with you. Everything isn't about you.
Of course everything is about me. Everything that happens to me is about me. Just like everything that happens to you is about you. So stop with the modern selfishness masquerading as selflessness.
It was about me and Ellie.
Listen to yourself.
And what we meant to each other.
You're talking about my wife.
I didn't want her to be your wife. I didn't like that she was your wife. I didn't choose for it to happen.
Teenager. Child.
I mean, I didn't do it to hurt you. I wished you and she weren't married. I wished I'd met her somewhere else, in some other way. That didn't have anything to do with you.
Even if it's true, it's irrelevant. You only knew each other because of me. You can fantasize all day long about it being different, but it wasn't different. What you preferred doesn't matter in the least. It's what you did.
I tried to get her to leave you, so it wouldn't be so...
You tried to get her to leave me? Well, that certainly helps.
I thought she would be happier away from you.
And more available to you.
No. Yes. I love her. I still love her.
Love doesn't make everything all right. I'm 70 years old, and you tried to get my wife to leave me.
Well, you never acted like you wanted her around.
How long?
How long what?
How long did you work on it trying to get her to leave me? But she didn't, did she? She wouldn't.
No, she wouldn't.
And you couldn't understand why.
No.
You asked her, but she said she couldn't explain.
It drove me crazy.
And it never occurred to you that she'd put up with me for 40 years. Maybe you should let it alone.
She was miserable. She said it all the time, and when she didn't say it, I could still see it.
Of course. I'm the bad guy. The two of you commit a heinous sin. I'm the bad guy.
You don't believe in sin.
There are sins that have nothing to do with religion, and the both of you were guilty of one.
What about your guilt?
Yeah, my guilt is irrelevant on this score.
You know you've done terrible things.
I know it. I admit it. I've been punished for them. Always punished for them, even now. And I need more whiskey. You might as well have more too. You're gonna need it.
Where's the Baltimore whiskey?
So, was it your depression?
What?
Well, you did it. You were depressed. You were missing Susan. God only knows why.
I don't know what.
Don't lie about it. I know you're on medication. Again. Ellie told me. Quite powerful meds, she said.
She told you that?
Surprised that every little thing between you wasn't secret?
I've cut way back.
Well, that's good. You shouldn't mix drugs and alcohol. You can't handle it.
But you can?
Apparently.
Yes, of course. You're always better at everything than I. You've always done everything better than I could.
Unfortunately, that's true. It's too bad, you poor thing, never being able to measure up.
You need to seriously go fuck yourself.
I have fucked myself. I have. Royally fucked myself. How do you think I got like this? But I had to. The guilty have to be punished. It's what I've built my life on.
Your mind is going. I should leave so you can get some sleep.
Sleep? I'm not going to sleep, not a chance. I don't want to miss it.
Miss what?
Your apology.
I'm not going to apologize.
Yes, you are. You're going to apologize for sleeping with my wife and for ruining my marriage.
You're really out of your mind. I didn't ruin your marriage. You did that yourself.
Ellie and I were perfectly happy until you moved in here.
She wasn't happy at all. She was miserable. She used to sit with me and cry. You're delusional.
I may be. That doesn't change the reality of what you did. You still have to apologize.
You don't believe in apologies.
Even so.
What do you want me to say? I'm sorry I fell in love with your wife?
You fell in love with her. You'd known her for 40 years and suddenly you fall in love with her? Bullshit! You're a pathetic little man who latched on to a woman who showed some sympathy for him.
I loved her. She was kinder and sweeter to me than any woman had ever been. More than Susan, more than any.
Really? The only woman you can think of is Susan? Poor little man. You should have had more women in your life.
I didn't collect women and throw them away like you did.
I didn't collect women, and I certainly never threw any away. They left of their own accord once they got sick of me. Ellie
What?
Ellie was the only one who stayed. And she stayed through everything, no matter how rotten I was to her. She deserved better than you. Better than a boy scared of a few ducks.
That's all I am to you, isn't it? All I've ever been. I was 5 years old.
I need my painkillers. They're in my jacket. I can't reach it.
Richard gets up, pulls the coat off the chair, and throws it onto Warren and sits. Warren goes through the pockets until he finds a small bottle of pills. He takes one with a slug of whiskey.
Taking those with a scotch will probably kill you.
Oh, I don't think so. I've done worse. Been abusing this old body for 70 years. Now, where were we?
You were just telling me what a piece of shit you are.
Very good. I don't think so. I think you were about to apologize.
You're insane. All right. I'm sorry.
Sorry for what?
Don't push it.
Sorry for what?
For what happened between me and Ellie.
And what happened between you and Ellie?
Now you're being a child.
Say it. Act like a man for once.
I fell in love with her. You don't believe it? Fine. But that's what happened.
Yeah, that's not what you need to apologize for.
I'm sorry I had sex with your wife.
There. Was that so hard? Unfortunately, I don't believe you. If you really loved her, there's no way you'd be sorry you had sex with her. I think you just want me to stop talking about it.
Yes, please stop talking about it.
All right, I will. I'll stop talking about your affair with Ellie.
Good.
I only brought it up because I wanted you to understand.
Understand what?
Why?
Why what?
Why I did what I did. Why I killed her.
You bastard. You rat fucking bastard. Now you're going to claim you murdered her? As some sort of revenge for our affair? How stupid do you think I am?
Pretty stupid. And not for revenge. Punishment.
Punishment for what? We had an affair. So what? So you killed her?
So what? I thought I made it clear. I don't see it as a so what. I see it as an unforgivable betrayal.
Oh.
Now, why are you pretending you don't believe me?
I'm not pretending. I don't believe you.
Yes, you do. You don't want to, but you do. You don't want to admit it, but deep down you know it's true. And it scares the hell out of you. I killed her, Richard.
Oh, stop saying that. You did not. You couldn't have.
Oh, yes, I could.
How? By being in a car accident that almost killed you?
Yeah, that's exactly how.
That doesn't make any sense.
Makes perfect sense. What better way to kill someone without raising any suspicion? Who murders someone by driving off a river road onto the rocks under a massive waterfall when they're in the car too? When they could just as easily be killed themselves? Who does something like that? Someone who's careful, who thinks things through. Someone who's been surrounded by crime all his life and who's seen every possible kind of murder and how the perpetrator was caught. who runs through the scenarios in his mind until he finds one, the one, where no one would ever suspect it was deliberate and premeditated. Shooting was out. Even an accidental shooting was out. Immediate suspicion, even if I arranged a convincing accident. Staging a suicide was out. No one would believe Ellie killed herself. Really, anything like that nowadays with DNA analysis, what it is, it's too risky. The one thing common to all murders is the murderer never does it in such a way that could cause them to die too. I mean, why would they? They always figure they can do it and leave no evidence or manage to cover it up. Almost never works. Vast majority of cases, they overlook something, don't think of something. We all leave little clues. I finally realized the only way to get away with it was to do it in a way where I could just as easily die. Then no one would suspect. I didn't drink for 2 days, so there'd be no alcohol in my system. It would clearly be a simple accident. In the dark, in the rain. And to be honest, she was Ellie. My doing anything directly to her was, well, I knew I couldn't. So I let the rocks in the river do it. I just drove the car off the road where there was no guardrail into the falls very, very fast.
So you were speeding.
Oh, yes. And by the way, she did drown. We crashed into the cars at an angle. Her side of the car flooded first. It was over her head before I even tried to get out. It happened very fast. I just managed to get the door open enough before it swallowed me up the same way. I got free of the car, but the falls, force of the falling water. I was flattened down on a rock. I'm pretty sure that's where I hit my head. But it was slick, you know. I couldn't hold on and I slid off. The river caught me and kept me flipping over and over and over, ramming me into other rocks, forcing me downstream. I may have hit my head again. I lost the ability to tell what was up and what was down, and I didn't know what direction to try for. And there was a moment, just a moment, and the thought went through my head that I'm not going to make it. This current, rocks everywhere, I'm too old and too hurt. I won't be able to fight my way out of this. I'm not going to make it. I'm going to die right here. And it's strange. When I thought that, at that moment, it was okay. It was really okay. I deserved it.
Why would you tell me this? You know I'll call the police.
Don't be stupid. There's no point in that. They won't believe you. Even if they question me, I'll just deny it. I'll tell them you were drinking, imagining I said things I didn't say. There's no proof I admitted it to you. There's no proof of anything. You're not wearing a wire, are you? You're not taping this. I'll never repeat it again in case you do. No, Richard, face it. You're the only one who will ever know. And now you'll know it forever, which is what you deserve.
God damn you.
That's for sure, if you believe in such things.
How? How am I supposed to live with this?
Well, that's the point. How was I supposed to live with the fact that you slid your little dick inside my wife?
It could have divorced her. A normal man would have divorced her. I know you're not normal, but God, Warren.
I probably would have if it had been somebody else. Hell, anybody else. Who knows? I might have forgiven her. I couldn't blame her for being sick of me. I'm sick of me. But it was you, little brother, you. It was you. She did it with you, who I saved from the ducks, who I was always saving from something, protecting from something, who was loved when I wasn't, yet I always looked after. All right, come here. You need to help me. I need to go to the bathroom. I need to piss. Come here.
No. No. Go fuck yourself.
Maybe I'll just sit here and drink until everything finally goes away forever.
Richard exits. Warren collapses back into his chair. End of Act 1. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, we are going to keep going without a pause before Act 2. And remember that there is a discussion that will follow this. Act 2. Setting is the same, but it's the next day. Warren is in his chair, asleep in the same clothes. Richard enters, looking exhausted. He too, wearing the same clothes, but with his jacket and tie gone. And his sleeves rolled up. He carries a new bottle of the same scotch in a fresh glass, which he puts on the table, sits in his chair.
Warren? Warren?
Huh? What? Oh. I'm still alive? Crap. Was it morning?
It's noon.
Noon. Shit. Oh, God damn, I still hurt.
Where?
Everywhere. What's this?
The bottle was empty. You must have finished it.
Probably, I don't remember.
I brought you a new one for later. Just saving myself the trouble.
Later. Fuck later. Never put out later what you can drink right now. This is open.
I had a little.
Not much.
Oh, just a little.
I've never known you to drink this early in the day.
These aren't normal days.
True. Have some more?
No, it didn't agree with me. My stomach.
Yeah. My stomach is made of iron. Top of the morning.
Afternoon.
Whenever.
I'm making coffee. You want some?
Oh, coffee with Glengower? Sacrilege. I typically don't drink during the day either, you know. Not usually. But I suppose I can now that I don't have a wife to pester me not to. Here's to drinking when you want. Did you sleep well?
What do you think?
Well, based on your clothes, I'd say you had a bad night.
It was the worst night of my life. Thanks to you.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Was it something I said?
You know perfectly well what you said.
No, I think I've forgotten. You know, between the painkillers and the whiskey, it's all pretty much a blur.
Bullshit.
Not at all.
You can stop pretending. I'm not taking you. I'm not going to do that.
I have no idea what you mean.
Oh, for God's sake. Look. See? You see? No recording devices. No, nothing.
He turns his trousers pockets inside out. All he produces is a pill bottle, much larger than a bottle of painkillers, which is still on the table.
So what's that?
I brought these for you.
And these are your pills?
Open it. My antidepressants. I brought them for you.
I'm touched, but I don't need antidepressants.
Oh, not to take. They're for you to hold on to show you I don't need them.
Looks like you need them. Bottle's almost empty.
I've had that bottle a long time. I don't need them now. I'm going to show you I'm stronger than you think.
Oh, good for you. I, on the other hand, need more breakfast.
What do you want to eat?
Who said anything about eating? You sure you don't want some?
I'll stick with coffee. I wish I could. I feel like getting roaring drunk.
Roaring drunk. Now, there's a word you never hear anymore. A phrase, I mean. Roaring drunk. Whoever gets roaring drunk anyway? Lions. Yeah, probably. I can imagine lions make loud, nasty drunks out there on the savannah, roaring drunk, getting thrown out of bars.
You're the only person I've ever seen roaring drunk.
Me, yeah, I suppose so. Once or twice. But that's all in the past. I'm old now. I am not up to the accomplishments of my youth. You're being remarkably civil, considering.
Well, there's nothing I can do, is there?
What's done is done.
I didn't say that.
No, but I know how you love cliches. I made it to the bathroom, by the way, and back, obviously. No thanks to you.
Well, that's good.
It hurt. A lot.
Even better.
Yeah. Apparently, I damaged some things in the accident even I didn't realize. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make a reference you'd find painful.
Yes, you did. But it's all right. It's what I expect. I'm glad you didn't pee yourself.
For God's sake, pee? Richard, pee is what a man says when he's talking to a child. The word is piss.
I'm glad you didn't spend the night in a puddle of piss.
Better. And so am I.
Why do you make such a big deal over stupid words?
Words are all we have. Now, there's a cliche for you.
You should stop. It's petty.
You know what? You're right. There. I stopped.
Very funny.
Oh, lighten up.
Lighten up.
That thing I told you, I didn't mean it should haunt you for every minute of every day. Just, well, generally, ruin any sense of happiness you could ever have. Ever.
Yes. And thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm tempted to say you're welcome, but I won't. Are you hungover?
I was. Coffee helps.
Well, I certainly am. But I won't be soon, especially when there are any of those left.
No, it's empty.
Shit, I was afraid of that. I think I took the last one during the night. Fucking doctors, they never give you enough of what you need. Should be more like bartenders.
More joking.
Why not? I feel like a great weight has been lifted off of me. I finally got to say things I've wanted to say for some time now. I finally admitted to something that's been weighing me down, and I feel much lighter. Maybe later I'll fly around the neighborhood.
I'm so happy for you. More likely it's the effect of the pills and the alcohol.
Maybe. Whatever it is, I hope it lasts. And it's no fun being stuck in this chair, you know.
I'm sure it's not.
I'd rather be playing golf.
Not exactly appropriate. You just buried your wife yesterday, in case you've forgotten.
No, I haven't forgotten. How can I? Your mopey face here to remind me.
What do you want to do about dinner?
Tonight?
Yes.
I don't know. Probably order in. Don't get any ideas about cooking for me.
Shit.
Well, you can't blame me for being suspicious. It's not like I haven't given you plenty of motive.
Speak into the microphone.
Very good.
You see how stupid it sounds? I'm not going to do anything to you. What could I do anyway? I admit it. I spent most of the night thinking about it, going over and over in my mind how I could get back at you for what you've done, torturing myself. There's nothing. And even if there were, I'm not up to doing it.
Well, I agree with you there.
Not because I'm weak, because I know I was wrong. Are you all right? Warren? Warren?
What? Oh,
Are you all right?
yeah. Acid flashback.
No.
No. So, you were saying
What?
that you were wrong.
Doesn't matter. Do you really want to hear it?
Oh, definitely.
When I first realized I had feelings for Ellie, I should have moved. When I realized I wanted her, I should have left. I shouldn't have stayed. And when I saw that she was, I don't know, starting to feel something too, and we got closer, I should have stopped it. I should have stopped it and gone away. Never let it happen. But it made me happy. Unbelievably happy. Happier than I've ever been in my life. It really did. And it's hard to walk away from that kind of happiness. But I know I was wrong. I know it was. It was wrong. I convinced myself it wasn't, but it was. I know that. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry I did that to you.
Well, that's... I don't know.
Surprised?
Maybe.
I'm capable of taking responsibility for what I've done. And there's your apology. Your real apology. Are you happy now? Does that help?
A little. No, not really.
I didn't think it would.
I told you. Apologies only help those who did the hurting. Do you feel better?
Not at all.
I'm so sorry.
Anyway, I've made some decisions. Do you want to know what they are?
Decisions? About what?
Lots of things.
Tell me.
What's wrong with you?
I need more scotch. Oh, tell me your decisions.
Well, first, I'm going to call my friend Charles Dunn. You remember him, Burnham Dunn? He's tried to get me to come over there before.
Burnham Dunn.
The accounting firm.
Ah! Yeah, big outfit.
The largest in the city. I don't know what he'll have available, but it'll be better than my current situation, I'm sure of it.
And he's tried to recruit you before.
Several times. The last time, at almost twice what I'm making now.
So why didn't you go?
I don't know. Oh, yes, I do. I was afraid. Well, I'm not afraid now.
Well, good.
Then I'm going to renegotiate my debt. All of it. Make them settlement offers. I got to get out of the hole Susan dug for me. Not in a year or two, now.
Right. Good.
Let's drink to that. Let's drink to getting out of debt.
Those are good decisions.
There's more.
Excellent.
I'm going to go to the police and tell them what you did. What's wrong?
What? What did you say?
Didn't you hear me?
It sounded like...
Are you having trouble hearing?
No. Just for a moment, I didn't follow.
What's the matter?
I don't know. I don't feel... God damn.
Don't you feel well?
Oh, I'm fine. What'd you say?
I said I'm going to the police.
Ah, there's no point in that. I told you.
Oh, I know. I'm not. I was making a joke. You know how you like to make jokes. Just to upset people. I thought I'd make one. Guess it didn't work. Sorry.
Richard, get used to it. There's nothing you can do to me.
Oh, no, I know. Except the last thing I've decided.
Yeah, I'm on the edge of my seat.
I'm going to leave you alone. I'm moving.
You mean out of the guest house?
Yes.
I see. That's probably best.
You don't mind?
Not at all.
You won't have anyone to torment anymore.
I'll try to cope.
You think you're funny. I wonder if you will. You haven't been alone in a very long time.
Oh, I haven't?
No, obviously.
Obviously, in what way?
Oh, don't act dumb. You had Ellie.
I did? Huh. It probably seems that way to you. As usual, you're entirely wrong.
You're not making any sense.
Of course not to you. You might have had Ellie if you'd married her. You probably would have. I never did.
She was always here.
Yes.
She didn't leave you, despite everything.
No, that's right.
So what are you talking about? She took good care of you.
Of course she did. I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that at all. You don't understand. You don't understand anything.
No, I honestly don't.
I've always been alone. I've always been alone because I've never been able to have anyone. Not Ellie, not before Ellie, and not Ellie.
What do you
Not
mean?
even Ellie. I mean, no matter how close we got, no matter how much I tried, back when I still tried, there was always a distance, a void. I was never able to overcome it. Maybe void isn't the right word. Something was always in the way. Some barrier or void. I don't know. Call it what you want. Maybe there's no word for it. But it was always there, keeping us apart.
If that's so, it wasn't her fault. She tried.
I didn't say it was her fault. I know perfectly well it wasn't her fault. She tried. Of course she tried. She tried for years to break through to me. She did everything she could think of, but it was never enough. That's what ruined everything.
How?
I couldn't help resenting her for it.
For what?
For failing, which of course was my fault, not hers. Then after a while, even for trying when it was so obviously hopeless, because all it did was remind me of what a failure I was.
That was terribly unfair to her.
Yeah. What have I told you about fairness?
You let yourself off the hook too easily.
No, I didn't. I never did. I've lived every day with the knowledge that we were unhappy, and it was my fault. I took a woman I wanted to love, who deserved to be loved, and all I did was make her miserable for 40 years, and I have to live with that. Fortunately, I'm 70, so I won't have to do it for much longer.
I don't know how you live with yourself for even a second.
How do you think?
I have a question for you.
No, I have a question for you.
What?
Is there any more Glenn Gower?
You mean besides that bottle? No, that's the last one.
Well, I'm going to need you to go out and get more.
You planning to finish that one today too?
Yeah, I think it's a safe bet.
All right.
Now, what was your question?
What was Ellie's favorite color?
Or what?
Her favorite color. What was it?
Blue.
Yellow. What was her favorite song?
Song? You mean music?
That's what I said. You don't know, do you? Here comes the sun.
Ah.
What was her favorite flower?
Oh, that's easy. Roses.
Daisies.
No, you're wrong. I brought a day roses every year on,
You brought her roses every year on her birthday.
and she loved them.
She pretended to love them to make you happy.
That's not true. She never said.
She never said she preferred daisies? You never noticed she brought flowers home almost every week and they were always daisies?
Oh.
Even I noticed that, and I lived out in the guest house.
Well, good for you. Is that how you got her to go to bed with you, by bringing her daisies?
No,
You're trying to make the point that I didn't know my own wife. Is that it?
I was, but yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah, it's stupid. Besides, it hardly matters anymore.
That's not why it's stupid. I didn't know her either. Neither of us did.
Speak for yourself.
Were you shocked when you discovered she was sleeping with me? You were, weren't you? Maybe you didn't know her that well.
I was shocked because it was so unlike her. Ellie never gave me any reason to suspect her of anything for 40 years. Suddenly I find out, what's the point?
No, you're right. You had your reasons for being surprised. That's fair. But you still didn't know her.
Does anyone know anybody?
Well, you seem to think so. You think you have me all figured out?
You're easy. I mean, anybody you're married to. Did you know, Susan? Did you know she was going to take you for more than you were worth?
I knew she was untrustworthy.
And yet you trusted her.
No, I never did.
Then why did you marry her? And why did you stay with her?
I was charmed by her. I was flattered she wanted me. I wanted to make her happy. After a while, though, it was more about I didn't want to be alone.
Yeah, like I said, pathetic.
Why? Because I didn't want to be alone like you say you were?
You're always alone with a woman like Susan, aren't you?
Yes. Or with a man like you. Probably one reason I fell in love with Ellie. I knew I could trust her.
Trust her?
She was trustworthy.
My wife, who went to bed with my brother, was trustworthy. That's the one thing she turned out not to be.
You're wrong. That's why what you did is so terrible. Why it was such a waste. And you don't even know it.
Yeah.
You're not the only one who knows things, Warren. Have another drink. You're going to need it.
I'm drinking, but not because you said to.
Warren? Warren?
What? What? What?
What was that?
What?
Where did you go?
Nowhere.
Well, you weren't here.
I was back in my office.
At the prison?
At the window. I hated that window. You know, they never cleaned it. It was greasy glass wire mesh to make it shatterproof. even with the sun out, the sky bright. That filthy window made everything look gray, dreary, like I used to stand at that window sometimes, watching the men out of their cells, down in the yard, standing around, doing nothing, all wearing the same thing, all looking the same, from up there, almost indistinguishable from one another, and my guards up on the wall, watching them too, just watching them, waiting out their time so they could punch out and go home. I used to go drinking with my guards sometimes. The women, too. We had women guards, you know. I slept with most of them, usually the married ones. The men were just as bad, of course. Who am I kidding? Much worse. Most were just losers, simple bullies. A few were truly heartless, real bastards. But some surprised you. You thought they were good men, but then they'd get drunk and you'd find out the truth. Something they'd done, something terrible they'd done to somebody. It was this one time. It was right before I retired. I'm looking down on them, all of them, though, through that smeared window, and for just a moment, I imagined they'd all switched uniforms. The guards were the inmates the guards, and it struck me there wasn't much difference really between any of them, any of us. You find someone's truth, you look deeply enough into anybody, man or woman, it doesn't matter. You find a criminal. We're all guilty. Only a question of what crimes we've committed.
And yet you had to judge and punish Ellie.
Yes, I had to.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. I'm guilty of that, too. So what's that?
Ellie wrote me a letter. She left it at my door 3 days before the accident. That's why you didn't see me. Why I didn't come around. I stayed out in the guest house. I couldn't face her.
She wrote you a letter. Ah, yes. Her lover.
Read it.
I'm not reading it. It's your letter.
It's Ellie's letter. It's to say goodbye. Read it.
Goodbye. To you?
Read it.
Huh. She was leaving both of us.
Yes.
Oh.
What?
She's wrong. This isn't true.
What?
I never blamed her for not being able to have children. I was disappointed, but I never blamed her.
I always wondered why you didn't. You never told me it was because she...
It was none of your damn business. Broke her heart, but I never blamed her. If anything, it made me... Oh, hell, she did know about Karen.
She doesn't mention Karen.
Blondie. That was our nickname for Karen. And yet she stayed friends with her, even knowing about her.
Ellie was like that.
Huh. Most of the others, apparently. Shit.
We all leave little clues, don't we?
Huh. Oh, that's not true. I never thought once of leaving her.
Never?
Never.
I can't imagine why. What's wrong?
Hmm. I love him. After all the pain, all the cruelty, the insults, the humiliation, I can't say I love him, not anymore. No, that's not true. I wish it were. It should be. It really should be, but it's not. Uh, you imagine such a wonderful world for us. It's beautiful, but so we have to stop. It's wrong. I thought before it happens it would be wrong, and now I know it is. I can't anymore. I can't be part of a love I have to lie about. I love you, Richard, but I can't lie about things, and it's so unfair to Warren. Unfair to Warren.
So this is to say goodbye. Because I'm not strong enough to do it face to face. I don't want to go. I don't want to hurt you, either of you. But I have to. It's time for me to stop. Stop being the reality Warren hates and the fantasy you love. It's time for me to be my own woman. I'm 64. It's late, but I hope it's not too late for me to start being me. Have another drink.
Why didn't she tell me?
Tell you what, you should have known. Why do you think?
Ah, shit.
Did you understand what she was saying?
Of course.
She was leaving both of us to make a new life on her own. She was done with both of us. Who can blame her?
Why didn't she tell me?
Maybe she was going to, but you didn't give her the chance.
I don't.
What?
I'm having. You know, it wasn't just me, you know.
No, it wasn't just you. I thought I was her answer. She was mine. I thought I was hers. I wish I was, but I wasn't. I didn't think make things better for her. I made them worse. What?
Oh, you better. I need ambulance.
What?
Ambulance. I'm sick.
You feel sick?
Oh,
You're not sick.
yes. Am. Oh,
Not sick, Warren. You're having an overdose.
who?
Overdose. That's what happens when you mix too much whiskey with strong antidepressants like mine.
I didn't take
Yes, you did.
those yours pills, not mine. Mine.
Yours are the painkillers that were already in your system, along with a ridiculous amount of alcohol. All I did was put my antidepressants in your scotch. Your beloved Glengow.
How?
I told you I made some decisions last night. The one I didn't tell you about was to take my bottle of pills that was pretty much full and crush most of them up and put them in a bottle of your scotch. The bottle I brought you this morning. Don't try to get up. I'll stop you. With you so injured, I can actually do it this time.
Richard. No.
I never should have left you alone last night. I should have stayed here, not out in the guest house. I know how upset you were over your lost wife. your beloved Ellie. I knew you were drinking too much. And I definitely shouldn't have left my pills in the kitchen where you could find them and use them to commit suicide. Oh, I'm sorry, officer. I didn't realize my brother's state of mind was so far gone. I'm going to do all those things I told you. Those decisions, the job, the bills. I'm going to have to move. I know that. I'm not on the deed. I'm sure I'm not in your will. There's no way I'll get the house. But that's all right. That just shows I had no motive. Not that anyone will suspect the truth anyway. And I don't want to stay here. Too many memories of Ellie. But I want you to know one thing. I'm not sorry. That apology? That was fake. Most of what I've said to you since you woke up was just to string you along, hoping for the pills and the whiskey, hoping that they would eventually work. Well, it looks like they did. Or they will any minute. But just so you know, I'm not sorry at all. Not for this, and not for what I did with Ellie. I loved her, and you killed her. Domingo was right. Some things there's no coming back from. Some things are unforgivable. Now I have to rinse out this bottle of Glengower, because when somebody kills themselves with pills, they take a whole handful. They don't crush them up in a bottle of booze. Well, I'll fix that. And the glasses? And you opened my pills when I told you to, so your prints are all over that. Oh, then I'll call the police. And when they get here, I'll tell them last night we both stayed up late and drank too much, being so sad about Ellie. Everyone knows we were. Everyone you saw, you at the funeral. Poor Warren, the widower. So tragic. And when I went to bed, we were still sitting here drinking. And I slept past noon. And when I came into the house, I found you. My poor, dead brother. How stupid of me to leave my pills in the kitchen. How stupid. I'll never forgive myself. And after the police leave, before I do anything else, there's a bag full of broken pieces of seashell I have to try to glue together. What? What do you want? Why don't you fucking die?
Quack, quack.
End of play. All right. Everyone a minute to read the chat. But what it says is, if you want to participate in the post-reading discussion, feel free to turn your camera and mic on. I'm going to turn my camera back on. There's me. Hello. Bruce Bonefede, our esteemed playwright, has joined us. I see Tom Mahan. Let's give yourselves a hand, folks. I see Jan Dranik. Hi, Jan. You can unmute yourselves. Paul Donnelly. Hello, Paul. Thanks for joining us. Give a few more people a chance to regroup. If anyone would like to take a brief bio break, I'm going to wait a couple of minutes before we actually start the discussion. Let people stretch their legs, walk around a bit. So don't go away, and I will make myself invisible again for just a couple of minutes. Actors, feel free to get a drink of water, go to the potty, whatever you need to do, stretch your legs to regroup, or not, whatever you want to do. And we'll all be back here in 2 or 3 minutes, okay? Thank you. All right, so first of all, thank you to Bruce Bonefede for writing such a wonderful, moving, riveting piece again. This is our second foray together. We did Crusade in 2019, which was one of the best things I've been involved with. Thank you to my brilliant actors, Paul, Ballard, and John Colvalskie. I think you both really brought the words to life really, really well. With a play with this type of weighty material, it's important that the touch be, I think, from the director, really keep the nuances going. It's so easy to let it slide into high camp or high drama or over the topness, and I think we managed to not do that. I think it kept just the right tone that I was looking for. I hope it was something that the rest of the participants enjoyed. Do you have any particular questions from the audience? You can also remember, you can, if you don't want to speak, you can feel free to use the chat to ask a question, and we will be monitoring that. I'm looking at them, and so is Jennifer, our director. Also, thank you to Jennifer Silverman, our tech director behind the scenes. Jennifer, you want to turn your camera on? Yes, so we can wave at you. There she is. Here's our behind the scenes hero. Thank you very much. Bruce, let me ask you a question. What made you choose this particular subject matter?
I don't know. The play started when an actor friend of mine, who's actually was here watching the play. I don't know if he's still around. He's on mute. And another actor friend asked me to write a play for them, and I was like, no. I'm not any good at writing on request. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought about them, it suddenly occurred to me that I had the potential to write a lighthearted comedy that
well done.
To write a revenge tragedy that a modernized version. And I really do not, I mean, when I get my ideas, they're not necessarily caused by anything other than my own personal,
Your imagination.
problems, my own personal problems. But I saw it as a wonderful challenge, and one to do a play that was for older actors. I mean, obviously the actors don't have to be older; they can be younger and made up to look older. But it did provide an opportunity for older actors. By the way, they don't. In case anybody's wondering, they don't have to be two white men. They do have to be the same race, but they don't have to be white. And I think it would still work. And it just kind of came. I mean, it was not. Once I got into it, it was a very easy play to write, believe it or not, because I was able to indulge some of my darker thoughts. And a lot of plays you can't really do that because they don't call for that kind of characterizations. But this one did, so I just went after it. But at the same time, of course, it's not meant to be a comedy, obviously, but it is meant to be dark. But it's, I can't write.
There were some light moments in it, and
I can't write anything without putting some jokes in. So that's
I think that's what makes the subject matter more relatable, because life is rarely all one thing. I think you really managed to capture that in the whole script, that things are frequently not exactly the way they seem. The character of Warren had very few redeeming social qualities, but what I found was that his awareness of his limitations and his total self-awareness of just what a dickhead he was made him more human. That humanized him. Had he not been aware of it, it would have been a little too one-dimensional. I enjoyed that, and I love the twist of having mild-mannered Richard, who's cuckolded and picked on by his older brother his whole life, definitely getting the last word in that time. I like that particular twist to it.
Good.
Does anyone else from the participants or the audience have any questions for either the actors, the writer, or myself? We are happy to.
I have a comment. I found, I saw it as a very dark, really dark comedy. That was from my point of view. That's when I read it. And especially Warren, because Richard was too busy feeling sorry for himself.
Yes.
But yeah, I was like, shut up already. So whiny. And I thought, Warren should have poisoned him just to shut him up. But it's just, well,
he'd already killed his wife. What do you have to lose?
Yeah, I know. So, but I thought that both the actors did a really good job with the characters, but I appreciated the darkness of it. And I think that it would be fun to see it done on a stage, because with the movement, because it would come out more. So, yeah. It really would. You guys did a good job interacting with one another as best as you could. I like the idea of putting down one drink and picking it up.
Really we worked on the transfer. We got bottles that matched. That was the point. And we had pill bottles that matched. And we were going to work more. Had we had more time, I would have worked more on the fact that they're both reading from Ellie's letter.
Right.
Bruce, there's a question in the chat about what your plans are for the play for the future.
Yes, Bruce, you have a question.
Well, being independently wealthy, I just assumed I could take this to Broadway. No, my plans are those of any playwright with any play at this point in their career. I'm submitting it to theaters and competitions, etc., that have opportunities. That's it. I don't have an agent at the moment. I used to, but I stopped writing plays for a long time, and my agent went. So she went with Warren.
I, for one, would love to see it be given a full reading somewhere, a full production somewhere. But that's our hope with any of our readings. The reason we do the readings are so that the playwrights can hear their words spoken aloud, and because it's not really live until you hear it. Right. Reading it on a page is one thing. You have to be able to see it. That's why that's our contribution as the Baltimore Playwrights Festival. We also try to offer some constructive criticism. And it's hard when I love a piece as much as I usually do. I don't direct stuff I don't like, first of all. It's my perk. If I don't like it, I don't have to direct it. But I liked this a lot when I read it. My only suggestions, because I do try to always find some way to suggest, some way to make it even better than it is. It's wonderful the way it is. I would take another look at Warren's 3 long speeches, particularly the one with the dirty windows. The Domingo story was nicely put. I like that, but the one with the dirty windows, I thought that could use some editing, particularly at the point it comes in the story. And there was another long speech. I made a note in my script, but I didn't mark the page. I have to go back and look. Anyway, just take a look at those 3, because Warren has 3 long speeches that that might benefit from a little editing,
Right.
particularly the one with the dirty windows.
Yeah.
I felt fucking the female guards was gratuitous. It's totally in Warren's character. It's exactly what he would do. It's just that at that point, to me, it broke the rhythm of the glide up to the grand finale for me personally.
Right.
If I were directing it live, I would definitely have cut that part some. Very other few edits came to mind while I was doing it. Again, once if I were in a studio or on a stage with actors, pacing would be really important. It's, you know, if it's ever given a full production, it would require a director who would keep the pacing moving. When you only have two characters on a stage, it's really easy for the audience's mind to drift. So the action has to be, particularly when most of the action involves them sitting in a chair.
Right.
So the dialogue has to be really, it really needs to clip. But you don't want it to clip so much that becomes the entire pace. You really need to find the ebb and the flow, the wax and the wane of dialogue.
Exactly. Very much agree. Just so everybody understands, one of the challenges with an online reading and not seeing it on stage and not seeing any kind of physical movement is there is physical movement in the play.
Yes,
now, there's not a lot, but there is physical movement on the play, and that is actually yeah, that's actually a lot. That was actually one of my original, when you asked where the play came from, that was one of the things that occurred to me first, the way I wanted to, because when I know that a lot of directors don't want to hear about stage direction, and I don't really write stage direction, stage actions, not direction, but it was inspired, the staging, the way I see it in my head, was inspired by Endgame, not Avengers Endgame. Beckett's Endgame, where you have Ham in a chair through the whole, and you have Clav moving around, like so. In this play, very similarly, Warren is the nucleus, and Richard is the electron.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, and I would, if I were directing it physically, I would definitely try to keep Richard's ability to move as contrasted by Warren's inability.
Right.
That was all have Warren struggle more because he's not happy with he's not used to being the one who can't move. So I would have him wrestling with himself, trying to get comfortable, trying to get his arm situated, trying to exhibit a little more of the physical exertion, just especially towards the end when as his speech begins to slur, and him fighting like hell to try to get to a phone or an ambulance or something. I would probably add some business of him trying to reach a phone and Richard moves it out of the way so that he can't.
This is why I love it when you do my stuff, Timoth, because you see all these things and that are in the script, but some other people may not necessarily.
I can just give me an idea and I will just run all over the room with it. But folks, I'm going to unfortunately, I could discuss this all day, but unfortunately I have another event I need to get to, and I know so does Jennifer. If there's any other questions in the chat, I haven't looked for a minute.
I'd like that. This is a play that actually works on Zoom, and the two actors each they didn't move much at all, but the postures that they kept were perfectly in tune with the characters that are there. The aggressive older brother and the meek, almost pathetically submissive younger brother. And I thought it worked well. Staging would be better, of course, but nothing brought down from the limitations of a Zoom reading like this was. So congratulations to all of you.
Thank you, Tom. I thought the actors, again, I can't say enough about how pleased I was. I told them both that, I have lots of limitations as an actor or as a director, but one of the things that I am proud of my ability to do is put the right people in the right jobs because that's job one for a director. Miriam, who's one of the best directors I've ever met in my life, is brilliant at that. She gets the right people in the roles. After that, they do a lot of the work themselves. It's just our jobs to just kind of guide them around like, traffic directors, but you put the right actor in the part and the rest is gravy. So I'm so pleased with John and with Paul and the jobs you did. So thank you both. And again, Bruce, the BPF, I'm sure joins me in thanking you for the contributions you made over the years, and particularly for this one.
Thank you.
Hope it's not the last. Hope this is just
Thank you.
one more in a string.
Hopefully too.